England and the United States intend to launch a combined attack on the Houthis. India is losing patience with Iran and the Houthis. Israel is accused of killing senior officials in Iran, and the temperature is rising in the Middle East. Here's everything that's happened this week in our neighborhood. This week, Iran announced that Saeed Reza Mousavi, a senior commander in the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, whose rank is equivalent to a lieutenant colonel, was killed today in a mysterious attack in Syria. The attack was attributed to Israel, according to the report in the Iranian news agency Tasnim. Israel has made no response. The official eliminated, known as Saeed Ghazi, is one of the veteran advisors of the Revolutionary Guard in Syria. It's said that he served as the main point of contact for the Iranian interest in this region. According to foreign reports, he was eliminated by an airstrike. The Iranian newspaper Iran International explained last night that Mousavi was in charge of the logistics and military coordination of the Revolutionary Guards in Syria, as he was responsible for obtaining weapons and money for the forces supported by Iran in Syria and Lebanon. In other words, Israel allegedly eliminated the person responsible for the money and arms smuggling directly to Hezbollah in Syria and Lebanon. Iran's ambassador to Afghanistan said this criminal act of the Zionist regime stems from the fact that the Israeli regime seeks to develop operations outside the border of occupied Palestine in order to bring the Islamic Republic to the stage of direct confrontation. These are their words, of course. The Revolutionary Guard in Iran confirmed his death and threatened that Israel will pay the price for the crime of assassinating one of our veteran military advisors in Syria, end quote. This is not the first time since the beginning of the war that claims have been made that Israel is hitting the Iranians from air. At the beginning of the month, Iran officially announced that 2 members of the Revolutionary Guard were killed in an attack, and again, according to Tehran, Israel was behind this attack. Again, Israel claims that it did nothing. So it seems that these assassinations are part of the secret war that is now going on directly between Israel and Iran. And honestly, it's not really that secret anymore. Iran is behind the activities of the Houthis against Israel in the Red Sea, as well as behind the Shia militias that operate against Israel from the territory of Syria. In addition to all of this, Iran is currently supplying Hezbollah with modern anti-aircraft systems for intercepting drones and helicopter gunships. Hezbollah uses them in the north of Israel. These Iranian-made systems are called 358 missiles, and they have already been used several times against Israeli drones in the skies of Lebanon. It's claimed also that Israel has intercepted several of these missiles. These ongoing exchanges of blows between Iran and Israel are conducted in different arenas, but the context is one. Iran wants to harm Israeli interests. Iran is trying to do this in the Indian Ocean and the Red Sea arenas, where it has available protégés, and also in Syria, where it can deploy an Iraqi and Syrian counterpart. An explosion occurred this week near the Israeli embassy in New Delhi, the capital of India. This explosion happened on the same day that the Indian government announced that it condemned the October 7th attacks in Israel. There were no casualties in the explosion. Reports in India said that a letter addressed to the Israeli ambassador was found at the scene of crime. On the letter that was sent was written in English the word revenge, and the Israeli flag appears on it. The content of this letter states that this attack is a response to Israel's actions in Gaza. After reviewing closed-circuit security footage, the Indian police located 2 Muslim suspects. What a surprise. According to reports in the Indian media, police officers also received a threatening letter. Sir Allah resistance group affiliated with Iran took responsibility for the explosion. The story between India and Iran does not end here. This week, off the western coast of India, a commercial tanker, Camp Pluto with Israeli connections, was attacked by an unmanned aircraft. From the impact, a fire broke out on board, but there were no casualties among the crew members. According to the Pentagon, an unmanned aerial vehicle was launched from Iran, which Iran, of course, denies. Surprise, surprise. The tanker was carrying crude oil from a port in Saudi Arabia to Mangalore in India and had 21 Indian crew members and 1 Vietnamese crew member on board. It was reported that vessels of the Indian Navy accompanied her on the way to the port in the city of Mumbai. India's defense ministry said in a statement that the vessels had been sent to various areas at sea to maintain a deterrent presence. It was also reported that military planes will patrol the area. I should note that India is not part of the US coalition that initiated the Prosperity Guardian operation, but its presence in the region could add deterrence to the Houthi rebels who continue to threaten commercial shipping movements in the Red Sea near the Bab el-Mandab Strait. It's still not clear what Iran and the Houthis want from India, whose patience is running out. What we do know is what Operation Prosperity Guardian is. Prosperity Guardian is the name of the international operation to secure navigation in the Red Sea following the Houthi threat announced 2 weeks ago by the US Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin. The naval force was joined by Canada, France, Italy, the Netherlands, Norway, Bahrain, and Spain. And we have to say that Israel, Saudi Arabia, and Egypt are conspicuous by their absence from this task force, or official absence, I should say, from this task force. Some of the stories taking place in this region are just crazy. They sound like an insane script coming out of who knows where. For instance, on Sunday this week, the cargo ship Maris Hengzu, which carries the flag of Singapore and is owned by Denmark, sent a distress message at 9:30 in the evening. The ship announced that it had been hit by a missile launched at it from the area controlled by the Houthis in the south of the Red Sea. The American destroyers Gravely and Levon responded to the distress call, when Gravely also shot down 2 ballistic missiles that the Houthis had launched into the area. There were no casualties, and it was reported that the ship was able to continue on its way. But just 10 hours later, at 6:30 in the morning, the ship sent a distress signal when Houthi armed men on a small fast boat approached to a distance of only 20 meters and opened fire towards it and even tried to board the ship. US Navy helicopters were launched into the area from the aircraft carrier Eisenhower, and the destroyer Gravely had sent warnings to the Houthi boats. The Houthi terrorists fired at the American helicopters, which returned fire as self-defense. As a result, 3 of the boats were sunk and the gunmen on board were killed, with a 4th boat escaping from the scene. There were no casualties or damage to the American forces. Following the double attack on the ship, Maersk announced that it was suspending the passage of its vessels through the Red Sea for 48 hours. Senior Houthi leader Abd el-Waheb al-Kil said Yemen has a legal right enshrined in the UN Convention of the Law of the Sea to prevent Israeli vessels and vessels moving in the direction of Israel from passing through the Red Sea and the Arabian Sea, to pursue them aggressively and to interrogate the crew members. This morning, Pentagon officials formulated detailed plans to attack Houthi missiles and drone bases in Yemen, the New York Times reported. According to this report, speedboats of the type used to attack the ship were seen at some of the facilities. The British Times reported on Sunday that Britain is preparing for a joint attack with the US against the Houthi rebel terrorist organization in Yemen. This is a response to the organization's attack on the ships in the Red Sea in recent months. According to the plan, the United Kingdom will join the United States, and they will probably be joined by another European country. It was noted that Britain and the US are expected to make an unprecedented statement, which we will all be watching for in the next episode. And last, things are heating up in the Red Sea. While I'm recording this report, sources in Yemen say that a vessel of the Houthi rebels is conducting a heavy fire exchange with an American warship in the Red Sea. Officials from the Houthis deny that this is actually happening right now, but the reports are saying that things are warming up in the Red Sea. In conclusion, the world hoped that it would be possible to ignore the fact that Hamas controls Gaza, Hezbollah is acting in Lebanon, the Houthis are attacking ships in the Red Sea, and Iran is behind all of this. The year 2023 has made it clear to everyone. Without treating the root cause of all the trouble in the Middle East, small military operations will not be enough to stop everything that's happening in here. But mainly is acting in policy and politics. We cannot go on with business as usual without treating the root cause. This is everything that happened this week in the Middle East. Like we always say, you can't understand Israel without understanding the region, and you can't understand the region without understanding what is happening in Israel. If you like this video and want to learn more, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow our social media. Have a great week.